So my wonderful wife and I have been working in Haiti for about 35 years, and with Haitian immigrants in New Orleans, where we live most of the year. And we have an audiovisual presentation, and we would be really honored and excited to have you come and listen to our story. We're building a school in Haiti, hopefully a sturdy, sustainable, and free school. There's no public education system in Haiti, the most under-resourced country in the Western Hemisphere, and so you can imagine how many kids don't go to school. And we're sort of maybe 50, 60% there in building this new school. And we'd just like to share our story and know that not everything happening in Haiti, unfortunately, is as tragic as the media presents. Thank you.
We look forward to hearing the details. Once again, that's here in Riviere Sanctuary after the service.
Attendance, and if you can't hear me, just raise your hand or tell me, raise my voice or whatever. And if I'm getting too long-winded, you can say, okay, great, move along, move along. You know, I'm happy to get feedback. I'm here for you and to communicate. So here we are. Next slide, please. So a little introduction of who we are and what we're doing. And you have to scroll down on this slide, keep on continuing. Okay, so this is Yvelyne. She's a native of Haiti. She's fluent in Kreyol and French, even though she's lived here since she was 7 years old. But she's kept strong ties with her community. And she's retired from a stellar career in mathematics education, and she has endless energy and creativity to solve problems collaboratively. I'm her grateful husband. I have workable high school and college French from 50 years ago, and I'm just sort of her fundraiser and PR person and sounding board. And my career was in disability rights and rehabilitation practice. We work through the Haitian Association for Human Development, which is AHDH. That's the French acronym, so it isn't a typo. It's actually as it's up there. And that's a grassroots group of Haitians, very much like Yvelyne, who were born in Haiti, came to the United States for professional education, stayed, and still wanted to give back to their community. And so they're, since 1987, through AHDH, which is a all-volunteer 501c3 nonprofit that organizes medical missions and funds service programs in Haiti, including all of the work that we've done. So all of the donations that come to us are tax deductible, and there's an accounting system to ensure that the funding is appropriately utilized, and it's all volunteer. There are no staff persons. Everyone who goes with us to Haiti pays all of their own expenses, and so all of the money goes to projects on the ground in Haiti. Or Yvelyne has run several programs for Haitian immigrants, newly arrived Haitian immigrants, over the past 30 years in New Orleans, where we live most of the year. And so next slide, please. And we've been active UUs for more than 40 years. We do this work as a way of living out our UU principles, which you know about, the new stellar generosity, transparency, interdependence, etc. And also the principles, including affirming the inherent worth and dignity of every person and promoting the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. Next slide, please. Okay. And who are our project partners in Haiti? For several years, Yvelyne has organized a trip of U.S. volunteers with their donated equipment and supplies to run a 2-week summer camp in her childhood neighborhood of Riviere Froide, which is an area, part of Port-au-Prince, the capital. And it included tutoring classes for those whose schooling was inadequate and cultural enrichment activities for all students. Through these camps, she developed relationships of trust with a few community leaders who are our partners today, co-managing products with her supervision. Next slide, please. Oops. Yes, okay. So who are specifically our partners? They are young adult graduates of her camps whom AHD employs part-time as tutors, and elders from the community who are leaders, and also principals with whom she negotiated use of school space for the summer camp and after-school tutoring. And so, although Yvelyne went there every year for many years in the summertime, and I've been 3 or 4 times, you really need people on the ground who are implementing this, indicating what the needs are, where problems and barriers emerge and plans need to be changed, etc. Though most people there are very poor, many have access to a cell phone and Wi-Fi. So Yvelyne holds project meetings by using the free WhatsApp. It's a communication platform, the app that you can get on your phone, and it's free to call or text or share videos. And so everything that we're going to show from Haiti was done on WhatsApp. I will also say that Yvelyne works, particularly during this construction period, 35 to 40 hours a week on the phone, 7 days a week, with people calling her, giving feedback. You know, Haiti is not a smoothly run society. And it's just every day there's an expression that I've heard, and it says, nothing works in Haiti, but everything works out, which means that it's full of broken equipment and dilapidated structures and lack of infrastructure, but somehow the people get up every day and live their life and make it work. And here's just a demonstration of how the verification of expenses. This is, like one of those little copy books that you used to get in previous times. Every time you made a transaction from your bank, and they would do it and give it to you. And here is that little note. On Monday, April 29th, I withdrew an amount of $13.41, delineating what the expense is for, etc. Okay, our major project, rebuilding a very needy school in the mountains outside of Port-au-Prince. As I mentioned briefly in my summary, there is no system of free compulsory education in Haiti. There's also no public library system. So even though we have poor people in the United States, there's an infrastructure of services. There's no place that you can go to cool off in the heat of the day, like people go to the library for an hour or two and just sit. And so to fill that gap, religious, philanthropic, or community groups, both local and many of them international, what they call NGOs, non-governmental organizations, operate many of the schools that still remain significantly underfunded and charge tuition and fees. Because most families can't afford the cost, many kids don't go to school unless a donor sponsor pays for their tuition, books, and required uniforms. And there are even students whose parents have paid for like half of the year on a monthly installment plan, and then they can't afford to pay anymore. And at the end of the year, sometimes the principal allows them to go to school for the rest of the year, but they won't give them a report card at the end of the year. So they have no documentation that they have completed the 3rd grade or whatever. And so, there are all sorts of barriers that you can't imagine because of the system that we live in. So here is a video that we're going to show you. It was done in May 24 by Alexis, who is a 26-year-old enterprising leader whose career goal in photography and media we have supported since he learned that craft in one of Yvelyne's summer camps. So one of the volunteer teacher groups that she brought were a group of photography teachers. They came, they brought real fancy cameras, and they taught the kids photography. They, printed out their things, etc. And this young man he was so excited, and it really resonated with what he wanted to do. And he has been contacting Yvelyne since then, saying, if I had $100, I could get this or whatever. He started a business, was doing wedding photography, etc. This was before all of the current gang violence situation or whatever. But at any rate, he's really proved an excellent partner for us and is still doing photography. And he did this video. So play the video, please.
In the remote areas of Riviere Froide in Port-au-Prince, Haiti, finding the means to enroll and graduate from school are especially challenging for parents and students. Parents have to pay for tuition, supplies, and uniform, and yet have no steady income. Many students have to walk long distances in the hilly areas to get to school, rain or not. Thus, they wake up before 5 a.m., and they often head for school without eating breakfast or even bringing any lunch. But with your help, AHDH can build a school that will be accessible to many of these children. My name is Saint-Elise Robertson. Schools are very far from my house. I go to this one because it's closest. Many times I go to school without having had a meal.
I will say that Yvelyne and I have, we're well aware of the dire poverty in Haiti. And, even with our direct experience there, we were really blown away by this video and seeing the conditions of that school. And I can remember the day we watched it together. This is a school that we had never seen before, and Alexis had never seen before. He just found this roaming around his, larger metro area of Port-au-Prince, and it was, higher up in the mountains, and it's very inaccessible. And so he just took a picture of it because he was, just did this video because he was also really touched by the situation. And so Yvelyne and I just said simultaneously, we need to do something about that. It's not right that that school exists in those conditions. So that was the inspiration and the motivation for us to do this larger scale project on a level that we had never, done before. And so this is the outside view of this school. And as it says, this was our first exposure to it. And the next slide should be the interior while the students are on a break. But it's really a sad and, to me, unnecessary situation for people, for young kids or anyone to have to go to a school with those primitive conditions. Okay, next slide. All right, so oops. Yeah, here we go. So Yvelyne's going to take over because this is all of the stuff that we started to do after seeing that video.
And so the need was so great. It's like, where do you start? We all agreed that these kids, just like in the US, we say if a kid is sitting in the classroom with a hungry stomach, they're not going to learn much, right? That's what we always say in the US. So we get this hot lunch program in our schools here. Well, we had to do the same thing. So if they only had one good meal, it would be at the school. So that boosted attendance, for one thing, because they'd come just for the school. So what we had to do was we hired 2 cooks, and you'll see that at the time there were only 50 kids in the school. This is about 2.5 years ago. We had 50 kids in the school. So now our kids were getting a hot lunch. And this video will show you how that hot lunch was prepared. Yeah, we definitely didn't want to add pollution because there's no garbage collection in Haiti. So we're very conscious of that. And they had a variety of lunch. It could be rice and beans with a little bit of salmon sauce, spaghetti and sauce, or grits. Grits is very popular in Haiti with a little bit of sardines. So it was a variety of those three different meals. All right, so now our kids are eating. What's the next thing? We really wanted to start it with the school, but we had a problem. There's all this gang stuff going on in Haiti. And we'd have to go down to the central heart of the town in order to buy whatever materials we need. Then it has to go through the town and go up the mountains. What's to say that these gangs won't stop the truck and take all our materials, and there goes all our money? So we told the principal, before we start building the school, let's start with something smaller, like building a well, because that was part of what we wanted to do anyway, for water, because there was no water there. And so it's important, let's start with that. And that was about $7,000 as opposed to, another $30,000 we would need for the school. So we said, if we can get that well done, because it means going into town and getting cement, right? Getting the parts. If we can get that done, then let's start the school. And so it was done. Here it is. This is the kids going to the well to get water.
It's not a well. It's catching rainwater. So that concrete cinder block tower was.
And on days when there is no water, you can get a truck to bring the water to put in that catchment. So I told the board, Association Haitienne de Développement Humain, the Haitian Association, look, we've built the well. Can we start raising funds now to build the school? And the principal prior to that, this is like maybe 2.5, 3 years, but we didn't have the money. So we had to gather the money, put it there and see what we could do. He wanted to build 9 classrooms, 3 kindergarten, and then grades 1 to 6, and a place for the principal, a well, I'm sorry, when I say well, I mean catchment system. Restrooms, now we say restroom, what, it's a hole in the ground, right? There'll be 3 of them, one for teachers, one for boys, one for girls. But at least it'll be cement, it'll have doors, as opposed to going in the woods, which is what they have to do right now if they need to go to the bathroom. So we wanted to have that, and so we had the well, and a kitchen, maybe even a cafeteria, because you see how they were cooking outside. What happens when it rains? Well, someone will have to hold an umbrella or something so that she can do her cooking, right? So that was the plan. So we got the well done. And now so there you see it. There's a catchment in blue.
In the upper left.
In the upper left, blue.
The blue structure.
And what's that? Down there, those 3 little compartments, that's the restroom, the director's space, and then we would have 9 classrooms. So that's the plan, and you're going to see how far we got so far. This is where we are right now. So we got the salaries and the hot meals. You've seen that. That was phase 1. And number 2, we built the well. Phase 2. Now we're going to do the school. And we had to furnish it. So this is downtown where they're getting all the desks. Now they're up in the mountains, they're getting the chairs, they're getting the kids to help bring the desks into the classroom. It's very hilly, which protects it from gang activities, by the way. The gangs don't go up that far. It's too much work. This is the principal saying thank you, and he's going to show us what they've done so far. You notice that it's not painted, he'll say. We still need to paint. And some screens up there, we hadn't counted on that, but it would be great if we had screens there, and they still don't have any doors yet. So he'll show you one of the classrooms. So we'll have those 9 classrooms, and they kept the kindergartens in a separate area. So that this is a kindergarten area. You see how big it is? That's because the kindergarten area is going to have round tables, collaboration. We know in the US, you got to get kids away from looking at each other's back as we are right now, right? You got to get them in groups to collaborate and learn to disagree and not punch each other when you disagree or pull out a gun, right? So we've got that going, but these take more room, so the kindergarten spaces are bigger. So let's hold up. So now for the school, we've got that, but we need to paint inside. We need some more desks. We don't have the restrooms. And of course, the maintenance. We gotta pay teachers' salaries. Uniforms, we told the teacher, please, we told the principal, don't require uniforms. I mean, it's great when everybody looks the same, and you don't look at me because my clothes is a little dingy, but it costs money. So as a result, kids are not going to school because they don't have uniforms. And we don't have the money now for uniforms. I said, don't require, let the kids come to school as they are. We will pay for the teachers' salaries, so there's no reason for teachers not being there. We're going to pay the registration fees. No reason. Schools should be able to operate. So eventually we'll get the uniforms, but right now, more important is the books. I don't know if you noticed when the kids were sitting at the desk, triangle, circle, there's nothing under desk. Because the teachers have the books, not the students. And so the teachers will teach from the books. What do we do here in the public schools? We go in high school, they give you your science book, you sign your name there. At the end of the year, you return your science book, right? In the public schools, that's what I'd like to see. That may take us years, but that's what I'd like to get so that we could really have a school that's free and the kids are really learning because they have the materials they need. So, little by little. Thank you. Go ahead. Now, in the summer camps, of course, the kids are doing nothing. And actually, right after the earthquake in 2010, I went to Haiti. They were having cholera. They just had this terrible earthquake, and now they have a cholera epidemic. So I went with the president of the association at that time with 9 suitcases, and we were delivering them with, you get a little rehydration little shot, And like kids who are dying, in 3 or 4 days, they're out there, they're running. So we did that, but after that, I stayed in my hometown, and I looked at the kids and I said, oh, what are they doing? And so, but at the same time, I interviewed the locals, and I said, wow, Haiti is really devastated right now. But if you had the money, what would you do? Not the NGOs, what would you do? And so I have like 10 or 12 videos. I interviewed little kids who were going to school. I interviewed the politicians. I interviewed the principal. I interviewed the little woman who's selling her fish on the side. I went into the tents and interviewed people in the tents to find out what they would do. Do you know what the number one thing they asked for? What else? What? Toothbrushes. What else? Books. What else? Food. You know, the number one thing was, we want schools so our kids can go to school. Even the little kids were saying, I want my mom to have enough money so she can send me to school. The number two things, jobs. They don't want to be begging and saying, can you give us money? They want their kids to be able to go to school. They want the jobs so that they could support their kids to go to school. And if you look at those videos, I can give you the link, you'll see that was echoed from the little kids to the rich resort owner, who are still there, by the way. Our beautiful seas, the oceans are still there, because all this gang activity is in Port-au-Prince. It's not in Haiti. It's in Port-au-Prince. Other areas are functioning. So once I discovered that, I said, okay, that's when I started my program in 2011 to go every summer and begin this summer camp for the kids. What we do at the camps is not just an activity, but it's an opportunity for the older ones to learn a trade. Right now, there are a lot of motorcycles going up and down. That's what they have. And so they need repair. So this is actually my cousin Gregory over there, a mechanic, and he's the one that'll do the motorcycle repair. We teach them how to make sandals. We teach them how to make vinegar, detergent, you know, stuff that people, the chemicals. The little kids, we give them activities like, we'll see in a little bit, but they get to play with manipulatives, you know, different kinds of things that they can make, or they'll learn to do a little embroidery or something like that, or just coloring if they're too small. But these are activities that would give them hope. Something to do in the summer rather than just, and in my video, you'll see the kid is just pushing dirt. Why is he pushing the dirt? He has no reason, there's nothing else to do. So these camps gave them an activity to keep them busy and out of gangs, and at the same time, learn a trade. Okay, next. Also computers, we had to rent the computers, but they learned Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint here, basic computer skills. Next. And here, this is from our last camp. You see the kids? That's a big pool. You know, the pools that we typically put in our backyard. This was at the last day of camp. And so the last day of camp, we celebrate. The kids come together and they do a really, really fun activity that ordinarily they wouldn't be doing at all. And this was a thank you to the association for having the camps.
A rented backyard kids pool.
Actually, the principal of the school was the one who did that for us. Next. And here, these are the kids who are being tutored. We go into a school and Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we provide tutoring for the kids who would otherwise fail. We go into the school and we tell the teachers, who are the kids that you think, but by the way, a good 60% of the kids never get to graduate from school. We're trying to catch them early. So which kids would you recommend for this tutoring program? And then the graduates from my camp who graduated high school, they must have graduated high school in order to be a tutor. Because otherwise the teachers who are in the school will say, well, why are you getting these kids to do it when we could do it? Because they really want the money. And I'll say, but we want to spread the wealth around. You already have a job as a teacher. This is the next generation coming up. They've graduated high school. Certainly, they can serve as a brother or a sister to a kid who needs help with the homework. They accepted that. So we have the tutoring Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and we go from K to 9. And we pay the tutors an average of about $10 an hour, which is darn good for Haiti, but we see this as the future. They are the future of Haiti. They're the ones who will be able to establish businesses, so we wanted to make it possible for them to be able to do that. So, and here they're saying thank you. So Henry, do you want to take that? You want to take that part?
Okay, so here's my little farewell message. We're certainly going to be open to your questions, etc. But today is a good day to have a good day. Some ways of having a good day are to appreciate your loving and lovable self, share your resources, and do what you can. So our thanks, peace, and love to you, and we'd really welcome any questions, how we do things, what you as an individual or as a church community, etc., might be inspired to do as a way of supporting this project, the completion of the school, or sponsoring a child or a teacher or whatever. We're here for awareness raising and any support that we can get. And on the last slide on the first video that Alexis did, it says, we welcome all sorts of funding through grants or individual donations, foundations, and then it says, or volunteer, and in parentheses, even remotely, meaning that most of the people who watch this are very far removed from the situation. And I have to share a story that Yvelyne tells frequently. As I said, she immigrated with her family from Port-au-Prince to New York when she was 7. And as she grew and realized how many opportunities and resources she had as a person in America, and she would get sad and depressed and think, why am I living like this when my cousins are not, who are in Haiti or whatever? And so what did you say to yourself?
And I guess, I don't know if it's a Haitian thing, where if we get depressed, we find a way of looking at the situation and picking ourselves up, because living in that condition in Haiti, they should be depressed every time I go to Haiti. They're, hi, how the hell did you make it from one year to the next? When you see what they're going through and they're not working. In my case, when I said, my God, I'm a billionaire in comparison to a lot of them. Why me? Right? And I said, okay, you want to be down there with them? Or do you want to be here and make a difference down there? And I said, I got you, Lord, thank you.
And speaking of that, I made I was trained as a psychologist and worked in rehabilitation. And I've made presentations. And one of the times that I did, I came back from one of my trips and I did what my cross-cultural experience was. And one of the things that I noted was, Yvelyne mentioned, they get up and they have a smile on their face. It is incredible to walk around Haiti with people who are working their butts off, including skinny 10-year-old girls who are, walking to a well to get water so that they can cook and bathe for the day, carrying this water on the thing, and they've got a smile on their face. Everyone is like, and if anyone can produce music, they love music, and they get revived through that, and they have exuberant art, etc. And I think of how so many people in the United States do not walk around with a smile on their face, and they can get annoyed or, just ticked off by someone, cutting in front of them on the road or whatever, and these people are walking barefoot for a mile. So it just is a real lesson about how, despite the fact of all of their lack of resources and lack of a government that is supported and organized, etc., they're surviving, and they're surviving with a smile, but they need our support to have a comfortable and reasonable and accommodated life. So,
You have any questions?
yes, Linda.
Many years ago, I heard many years ago, Howard and I did voluntary service overseas in Nigeria, in Borno State, which is northern Nigeria. So it was a Muslim part of Nigeria. And that's where a lot of things have happened. For anyone remembers the Biafran War. It was brother versus brother. There was a lot of fighting. And when things would start to get better, the government or some of these groups would start to see that as a threat to their control and their power. And I was just wondering, I think this is a fabulous idea. I think what you're doing is great. But is there any, and you're far away from where the gangs are, but does the government in Haiti, are they supportive of this? They're not going to undermine anything you're trying to do?
And the way we guarantee that is we don't get involved with any politics. It's actually in our bylaws. You asked me as a Haitian Association member, what do I think about what's going in Haiti? No comment. Because how else will we get there if the government changes? You know, the way we can guarantee access is to not get involved with any. Now, as an individual, if I'm in a group here, I can. But even then, I have to be careful that because I am associated with the organization, that nothing I say would be an impediment for us going to Haiti, going through customs, getting into Haiti to do our work. Priority is to do our work, and we can only do that if we stand as an organization without any contact with any group, left or right, or north or south. So that's how we do it.
Yeah. I mean, I appreciate the question, Linda, and certainly 99% of the problem is systemic. It has to do with basic infrastructure and governmental organization in a democratic and accommodating and, life-supporting way. And we have chosen to do the path of individual intervention in a way that we can with our resources, etc. It would be great if I were an engineer and could go down there and supervise a group of colleagues, or a construction manager. We're educators, we have no technical skills, but so I think everything, obviously, needs to be done in a multimodal fashion, and we're trying to use our resources and our motivation and our personality and whatever skills we have. But it would be wonderful if there were intervention on a collaborative way, on a macro level that would bring about long-term changes.
And I do want to say, there's such a multitude of needs there that we can't tackle it all. So we say, what are our strengths and how can we make a difference with that? We also, as part of the organization, have a lot of medical doctors, and we have another mission in Jacmel, which is southeast of Port-au-Prince. We used to go with the doctors there, and they do cataract operations, we deliver babies, and they bring all the equipment, the medicines, everything they would need at zero cost. But now, since all the gang activities, you can't land in Port-au-Prince anymore. It's what would take us about an hour, now we've got 5 hours because you have to bypass the major roads. You can take a little airplane to go from here to there, then take another one. And then there's no guarantee that you'll actually get there. So right now, our medical mission has not happened, but what we have done is, okay, so we can't go with our own doctors. How about looking at the doctors in Haiti? So right now what we're doing is, we had a very successful eye clinic. We had cataract operations. Glaucoma, of course, there's no treatment, but we would give them the drops to prolong the time before, anyone would become blind. So what we've done right now is we've raised funds, and this is happening, it's going to start in December, where we will pay eye doctors there. I already have a list of 20 people ready to go to that clinic when it happens. The only thing is they'll check, eye check, and if you need glasses, they'll give it to you. If you have glaucoma, they'll give you the drops. But if you have cataracts, that they can't do, those doctors that we have can't do it with our fund. But there is another doctor that can do it, but he's going to charge us $200, which is probably nothing, but for Haiti it's a lot, per eye, whereas we used to do it for nothing. So we're saying, well, maybe we can make some arrangement with this doctor because we are bringing patients to this particular doctor, and maybe we can get it for less. So that's what we're negotiating now to see if we could get the cataracts done. But that clinic is fully functional, and we're collaborating with a university in Port-au-Prince where it can serve as a place for their interns in optometry to come and work with the doctors there, and we would give them a certificate of whatever one calls it for their it's not called training, what's that called? Internship. So we have a lot of things in the works, but there are things that we know we can do, and the other things we look at and we say, well, we can't do it all, but at least we're making a difference here. And we have to be satisfied with that, otherwise we get depressed. And depression gets us nowhere. So let's focus on what we can do and be happy and pray about it. Yes. Association haïtienne de développement humain. Association Haitian for the Development of Humans. And unfortunately, whenever you put it in Google, guess what Google gives you? ADHD, yeah, that's what we get all the time.
And so this is our contact information, our emails, and we have a platform set up, a donation platform. Give Butter is a donation platform that a lot of nonprofit organizations use. And this one that's /AHDH, which is the acronym for the organization in French. ED for the education program, because there's another group in our organization that's composed entirely of doctors and nurses, and they do go there and do the medical missions like the cataract surgeries, et cetera, that Yvelyne talked about. I mean, Yvelyne has held a flashlight during a delivery of babies. She's done translation for these volunteer doctors who come and do great work, but they don't have any language skills. And so there are lots of ways that she has really filled in and served. But at any rate, so it's givebutter.com, AHDH, ED25, and the videos are on that, etc., so that it gives all of the background context information, information about the organization, etc. Are there any other questions, suggestions,
Henry.
comments?
Henry.
Yes.
Right there.
Oh,
right
yes.
So I'm a retired primary teacher, and I have a lot of children's books. Would there be a way to get them to your school?
There. Unfortunately not.
No, so what you really need is more cash donations.
Yeah, and I tried.
It's really unfortunate.
Yeah.
People, for a while, we had our garage totally filled with
Good morning, Arlene. How are you?
donations that we had gotten, a lot of it clothes, etc. And
I'm listening to a program about schools in
it's
Haiti. It's
really
a
so
couple of
prohibitive. One of my students, former students, who was a minister also, he organized a shoe drive for his church, and they paid for the shipping, so they collected money to pay for the shipping. And that's the one that's in the program, where the people are outside the tent with a little handout that was in the thing. That's Yvelyne distributing the shoes, etc. I mean, shoes are really needed. I will tell you, when I was there, soccer, like in most other countries other than the United States, is a big thing. And one summer I went and volunteered at this camp. I know nothing about soccer, and I've never played soccer, so I did my own little freelance thing, and I did my own camp. But at any rate, there were kids playing soccer, a lot of kids playing barefoot, and what they would do is people would line up their shoes, and when it was their turn, they would put the shoes on and go out, and then they come back and they deposit the shoes. I even saw boys playing soccer with flip-flops that had rhinestones in them that obviously had been donated by some. I also worked in an orphanage sorting clothes. They had received lots of, this was after one of the, it was after the what do you call it, the cholera epidemic. And so there were a lot of drives. And so we're emptying out these boxes of clothing, which included snowsuits for like 3-year-olds, you know, fur-lined hoods, etc. And so, you know, it would be great if we could have an easy way of providing them with that, unless people, you know, become a flight attendant for
No, but even
American Airlines.
even
and
that
can
wouldn't help,
regularly
because American
bring
Airlines
a
can't fly to
suitcase.
Haiti.
Whenever we go, we always bring like 3 extra suitcases of really needed material. But
Henry,
it's really hard because
Henry.
of the island location and just all of the you know, infrastructure.
let me add something. American Airlines doesn't fly to Haiti. The major airlines do not. All we have is this little Sunrise, and it limits. I tried to get one suitcase with a couple that would, one suitcase I tried to get to, I couldn't. So now there's no way of getting anything. I mean, we used to go with 9 suitcases. We'd pay extra, you know, just to do that. Now we can't even do it if we want to. So, but thank you. Any other questions? I mean, if you wish to leave right now, you can. But if you still have questions, you're welcome to stay. I don't want to hold you.
Oh, and by the way, just we, as I mentioned, we live the majority of the year in New Orleans. We have a condo here, so we come and enjoy it. But we rent it out for the high season so that it will pay for the HO fees for the year. So we're leaving on Tuesday, and you won't see us until April. But we haven't, you know, abandoned ship. We just have this buy local lifestyle for our current situation until we get rid of our house in New Orleans and disentangle from all of our commitments there and come back. But at any rate, that's why you won't see us for several months. But whenever we're in Boca, we're here. And because we're leaving on Tuesday, I brought some stuff that doesn't need to, we had to take it out of the refrigerator anyway. So there's cold beer in the refrigerator, including some German varieties. We had a party for Yvelyne's birthday, and people brought this beer, and so we had all this beer left over. And I also brought some donations of fruit juice and soda, etc., for the snack larder. So,
Thank you so much
Yes.
for coming.
yes.
You donate to a specific thing, like to sponsor a child, go to
Yes.
school, or take children to school.
You could
Yes.
state whatever you would want, like I want to sponsor 2 students, or I want to sponsor 1 teacher, or I would like to have this go to finishing the toilets or whatever. You can specify how your donation goes. And on the website, it should be dedicated, but if you ever have a chance to, for a comment line, or if you write a check, which is an option, you could include you know, and you can mail the check, or you can have it deducted from your bank account. You could always just say the school project or education or Riviere Froide, which is the community that we work in, etc. Or, you know, contact us and we will facilitate whatever. If you do work for a company that has matching, you know, program, that's also on the website where the donation could be matched.
And when you give a
But anyway.
specific request,
And I welcome you to think as a church community how you might choose to respond. I know you have the share a plate, you're a generous congregation, and, you know, it doesn't have to end today because we're here talking about it. Yes.
Fill out a form for share the plate. We have to
Okay.
fill out a form for
All
share
right.
the plate. So let's do that before you leave.
good. I wanted to comment that if you
Thank
want
you.
your donation to go to a specific thing, like let's say you want to sponsor a child, I will send you a picture of the child that you sponsored. That's how small we are. You know, I wouldn't give the child your information unless you wanted to, because I'm sure you don't want a lot of, I need this, which they do need. But I would actually send you, and the child would say, thank you, with your name on it, so that you know it went exactly to where you wanted it to go. We're that small that we can do it.
No names of the children.
us any names.
Don't give us any of the children's names.
Oh.
Private.
Yeah. Thank you all very much. We appreciate it. Like to see you today. Staying after hours.